girl with a preppy vibe. Came to the spot with a friend of mine. She caught my eye. From the beginning, I was hooked. I can't tell a lie. Fresh, dressed, and fly. I respect her mind. Some dude trying to impress, but looking goofy at the same time. He bugging, she looking. I'm going for mine. Confidently, I approach with that eye to eye.
All right, y'all. Can you guys hear me and can you see me? Let me know in the chat, please. Oh my goodness. I'm always having difficulties trying to get logged on. But anyway, y'all, thank you guys for being here and supporting the channel. I'm assuming you guys can hear me. Yeah, so let me get myself together. Happy Monday. Welcome to the check-in. So, y'all, as you might have guessed, they did not get a deal when it came to meeting with Iran this weekend. I can't say I'm surprised. What about you guys? I am not surprised at all. So not only that they did not get a deal, but then President Trump decided that he was going to block Shidda Hormuz as well. We have that going on, okay? And then yeah, lots of craziness. But let me go ahead and do a little poll real quick. And you guys still haven't said if you can hear me or not. Let me know in the chat, please. Let's see. Did you think that a peace deal would have been reached? Let's see. This weekend. Let's see. We put that in here. All right. So I got that poll going. Let's see. So no, I don't. Okay. So you guys can't hear me, right? All right. So we have Josiah Williams here saying I made it. Welcome to the check-in. We have Mr. Tom Doomer here saying notifications all. I'm glad that's working. We have very curious about when the White House of Cards falls completely. Trump already pulled down one wing. Okay. We got Bull Monkey in the house. Good morning. So yes, y'all, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I was intrigued by this image that Trump put out on Truth Social this weekend. He's taking it down, but let's get into it real fast. What y'all think about that? This is a picture of Trump. Uh, I'm assuming he's saying he's Jesus. That's my assumption. Have you guys seen this? I'm finna go on Truth Social real fast and see if I can find the post he had regarding the Pope. Okay? Because apparently he was saying that he feels that Trump feels like he is the reason why the Pope is the first American Pope. Okay? So let's see. So Trump just posted 17 minutes ago, just like the Russia collusion hoax, the clown show sham impeachment of President Trump in 2019 was a BS show trial of epic proportion to try to take out the duly elected president of the United States. So he reposted what I guess Lee Zeldin put down. But let me find what I'm looking for regarding Trump and his comments about the Pope. We have Josiah Williams saying this pick is blasphemy. Laugh out loud. Then we have Christopher Morrow saying, checking in. Good morning to everyone. Hello. Good morning, Mr. Christopher. We got Bull Monkey saying, all hell, Jesus Trump. We've waited all this time for the second coming, and now we're disappointed. Yes, y'all. I could not believe that he posted that, but he did take it down. But I'm trying to find real quick his post about the Pope this weekend. He posts so much that it's not a quick find, unfortunately. Let's see. Well, I'll keep looking and then we might get back to it. As a matter of fact, y'all, why did he put a picture of the Trump Towers on the moon? Let me show you guys this on my tablet. Hopefully you guys can see it. Uh-oh. 1 second, y'all. This is crazy. Lord. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this going. So first up, we're gonna get an update regarding what went on this weekend or what did not go on this weekend. Okay, let's go ahead and get that started. And I'm going to find these other things I want to show you guys. All right.
President Trump says the United States will blockade the Strait of Hormuz, stepping up pressure on Iran after peace talks in Pakistan ended without a breakthrough. The waterway is a critical trade route and the shipment of 1/5 of the world's oil supply. And this weekend, U.S. warships crossed the strait for the first time since the war began to begin clearing Iranian mines. Tonight, a new CBS poll shows President Trump taking a hit. 64% of Americans now disapprove of his handling of the situation in Iran, and even more, 66% say the Trump administration has not clearly explained U.S. goals. And we begin tonight with CBS's Imtiaz Tayeb in Islamabad. Imtiaz, good evening to you.
Do you all think that the United States has clearly articulated the objectives for this war? What's y'all opinion? We're gonna do a little chat on that. Has the U.S. administration clearly articulated the objectives as goals for this war? Let me know what you guys think about that. Let's keep it going.
Tom, good evening. Well, the region is really on edge tonight as the U.S.-Iran peace talks break down without a deal, threatening a fragile ceasefire, the global economy, and a very real risk of returning to all-out war.
As Vice President J.D. Vance arrived in Islamabad, there was a real sense of optimism here. Special envoys Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner also joined. They arrived just hours after the Iranian delegation, led by the Speaker of Parliament Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. The Pakistani hosts, who helped broker the fragile 2-week ceasefire so these talks could happen, had gathered the world's media at a convention center close to the luxury hotel where the negotiations were held, to cover what would become the highest-level face-to-face meetings between top American and Iranian political leaders since the 1979 revolution. And after 21 hours of marathon talks, Vice President Vance emerged at 6 a.m. local time and said this.
We've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America.
I'm gonna tell y'all, I did not think they were going to reach an agreement, but I was gonna be optimistic and hopeful. So I cannot say I'm surprised that an agreement was not reached, because Iran was very clear that, how do they say it? They said that they're not gonna just give anything. That if you can't get this from us militarily, we're not gonna give it to you diplomatically. They made a comment to that effect. Okay. So we have Josiah Williams saying, do they ever, even when they do it, is it the truth? At this point, the only president worth their salt is Ibrahim Traore, period. Okay, let's keep this going.
A U.S. official close to the talks told CBS News the United States and Iran did not reach an agreement on all of the following points: ending uranium enrichment, dismantling enrichment facilities, retrieving uranium stockpiles, accepting a broader regional peace, ending funding for proxies like Hezbollah in Lebanon, and perhaps most urgently, fully reopening the Strait of Hormuz and charging no tolls for passage. Major issues which throw into question whether the shaky ceasefire would hold until the April 22nd deadline, if further talks would be held, and whether U.S. forces would return to direct combat. Mushahid Hussein Syed is a member of the Pakistani Senate.
Are we at the precipice of a deal or something far worse?
I feel we are at the precipice of a deal. But the very fact that the notion that 48 hours before the talks commenced, there was talk of wiping out civilizations. So that shows that both sides have an intent or a desire and the willingness to give peace a chance.
And tonight, Pakistani leaders said it was, quote, imperative the U.S. and Iran uphold the ceasefire agreement, and that it would also try to host further talks in the coming days, Tom. And as 2 U.S. warships passed through the Strait of Hormuz for the first time since the war began, as part of attempts to clear it of mines.
All right, MTS tie-up with the updates out of the Middle East. MTS, thank you. And tonight, U.S. stock and oil futures are...
I'm interested to see how is the U.S. going to clear that strait of mines. I was hearing what they were talking about that Iran had these speedboats where they can put down more to that effect, but I saw a really big ship heading over there. So I guess we'll have like smaller ships get off the bigger boat to I guess go through the strait. I don't know. It's interesting. I guess we're gonna see what they do. Um, we have Bull Monkey saying, are they are th- are they trying to decide if they try to tariff for shipping passing through a waterway they maintain? I don't know who maintains that strait, to be honest. Um, but yeah, they want to charge a tariff, and I believe the tariff or the toll, if you will, is like $1 million, something like that. So let's keep it going.
to open amid new uncertainties in the Middle East. And then there is this. Iran's top negotiator and Speaker of Parliament took to social media warning Americans that, quote, soon you'll be nostalgic for $4 to $5 gas. President Trump right now headed back to Washington after spending the weekend in Florida. And CBS's Torian Small is in Doral. So Torian, good evening to you. With peace talks off, what happens next?
Thing of the past.
Good evening, Tom. The president today saying that blockade will stop Iran from selling oil, but also acknowledged high energy prices could continue.
Look, regardless, we win. Regardless what happens, we win.
President Trump downplayed the significance of the talks with Iran as he made his way down to Miami yesterday, just hours.
He just said that regardless of what happens in regards to this peace negotiation, regardless of that, America wins. But yet we're not winning at the gas pump. Okay. We were already seeing, the price of food starting to go up, different things like that. So I don't know what he means by we're winning. I thought that the Strait of Hormuz was not an objective of Operation Epic Fury, but it kind of seems to be very central to things going on now. What do you guys think? Let's keep it going.
Hours before negotiations collapsed, as the situation in the Strait of Hormuz has sent global energy costs skyrocketing. AAA reports the price of a gallon of regular spiked 40% since the day before the war began. The president said in an interview Sunday that prices could remain high through November.
So do you believe the price of oil and gas will be lower before the midterm elections?
He don't know.
I hope so. I mean, I think so. It could be. It could be or the same or maybe a little bit higher, but it should be around the same.
Higher oil costs are fueling a surge in inflation, according to a March report by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. New CBS polling shows the president's approval rating on his handling of inflation is down to 31%. The poll also found most Americans think gas prices have been a financial hardship since the start of the war.
So I'll drive the extra 10, 15 minutes just to pay 40 cents less per gallon.
Democrats blame the administration.
Gas in Virginia was $2.81 40 days ago. It is over $4 now. Even if President declares victory tomorrow, those high gas prices will be with us for months.
While Republicans caution Iran is still a threat.
No one is willing to trade lower gas prices for Iran becoming a nuclear state.
Lawmakers return to Washington tomorrow. They're expecting a supplemental request to fund this war on top of a $1.5 trillion defense spending budget request for next year. Tom?
All right, Torian Small traveling with the president for us. Tori.
So I haven't seen yet that they put in that request for that additional funds, but let me write that down so I can look that up. 1 second. Department of War increased budget. Okay. Yes. Okay, y'all. So we kind of got an update on that. As we knew, they weren't going to come to an agreement, but it was worth a shot. I believe I saw that they were going to try to have another set of negotiations between Israel and Lebanon and all them here in the U.S. I don't know if that's going to happen either. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. But yeah, no negotiations. Trump is doing a blockade. Like the Strait of Hormuz, gas still going up. I don't think they've gone before Congress to ask about this war, asking for permission, if you will. So let's go ahead on. What y'all got going on here in the chat? You guys, so yeah, Josiah Williams says that Trump isn't saying America will win. He's saying his billionaires will win regardless, as always. Okay. We got going down. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. It's saying Dr. Jesus Trump. Bull Monkey says, long live the Trump administration. Said nobody ever. Josiah Williams says, laugh out loud. Sadly, that's not true, Bull Monkey. Laugh out loud. Josiah saying, can you break bread with someone who kicks in your door and is trying to regulate your kitchen? Interesting. Okay. All right. So I found what I was looking for, y'all. Let me see if I can pull this up again. And I'm kind of afraid to do so. I don't want my stuff to mess up. We're gonna try it though. No, I'll play it after this. So what we'll do now, we'll go ahead on. We're gonna talk about that Strait of Hormuz and the blockade that Trump is instituting. So let's get into that, y'all.
Let's delve deeper into this ongoing complex issue on the Strait of Hormuz. I can welcome to the studio our international affairs editor, Ketevan Gorjastani. Ketevan, good to have you with us. Walk us through, if you will, how this blockade is supposed to work at this stage, at least.
Well, look, what we know of what exactly the United States wants to do is through CENTCOM, Central Command, giving a little bit of details as to what they mean by a blockade. So the idea in their announcement, their official announcement, is that they will be targeting vessels of all nations that are entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, meaning not just the ports, but really all of the coastal areas of Iran, including, they say, all the ports on the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. But they do insist, as you mentioned, in that same statement, that it will not be targeting the vessels transiting through the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports. That's the official announcement by CENTCOM. And when you look at the region, when you look at the map of the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, and the Strait of Hormuz, you see that there are quite a few Iranian ports in that region. These are some of the main ones, including, we talked a lot about Harg Island, which is Iran's main oil export hub, Bandar Abbas, which is the big port that is sitting on the Strait of.
I did not realize there were so many ports along that area near the Strait of Hormuz. Never knew that until today. Now we got Craftsman here. Welcome to the check-in, saying that the blockade, it just sent 200 oil tankers to the United States. Interesting. I did see where Trump had made a statement that he had all these tankers coming to the United States to get oil, and off they go. So we have Josiah Williams saying this whole situation is the equivalent to clogging your heart to fill your hand. You're not going to hold on long. That you have some interesting analogies. Then we have John L. Stewart saying Trump says he's a businessman first. This is part of the Kirshner deal insurance. President second, 350 million Americans without a president exception, top 1% in the Trump boys. Okay, let's keep it going.
But also Chabahar, which is the southernmost major port that is on the Gulf of Oman, and therefore the closest directly heading towards the Indian Ocean. But CENTCOM in its announcement also said that they would send a formal notice to the commercial sort of fleet before the start of the blockade, and Reuters, the news agency, got its hands on that formal notice to those ships, where it says that any vessels without authorization will be subject to interception, diversion, and capture. also insisting it won't be limited to ports and oil terminals, meaning basically that any ship that comes near that blockade will be a target, and also adding that humanitarian shipments will be allowed to go through following inspection. Humanitarian shipments, those are food, medical supplies, and other essential goods. We have also a truth post by the U.S. president just a few minutes ago saying that every boat from the Iranians will be seen as a threat to the United States, and therefore the United States will be immediately eliminating any Iranian boat that gets close to them. He says, using the same system of kill that we used against the drug dealers on boats at sea, seemingly referencing what happened in around Venezuela, where the United States was going after drug dealing boats. But of course, Iran is not Venezuela. The Gulf region is not the area around Venezuela. And this is way more complicated.
Complicated and, of course, risky, a very risky approach there. But walk us through what it seems Americans are trying to achieve, again, at this stage.
Well, look, the idea, obviously, is to ramp up pressure on the Iranians by choking off Iran's capacity to sell its oil, because you have to remember that Iran has managed to continue exporting millions of barrels of oil since the start of the war. And that, of course, with the higher oil prices, has meant that they have had quite a bit of revenue still coming in thanks to those exports. So obviously, this is going to be a problem for Iran if now the Americans manage to block off all the tankers that have been allowed through by the Iranians. But there are a few issues with the U.S. strategy. One, the blockade could impact some of U.S. partners that have been involved directly in the mediation between the United States and Iran. For example, Pakistan, they have had.
So as you guys know, Iran has been making money during all this Operation Epic Fury. They've been still sending out oil to like China and other places. So they've made more money during this war than prior to. Okay. So then we have Craftsman saying it's actually like 160 tankers, but that's a lot if we can sell oil to the world like that. Why would we care about the Straits? Trump doesn't care about the Straits. He said that we get very little oil from there, but that our global partners are the ones that should be caring and should be doing more, is what he was saying. That we had Josiah saying because of shipping lanes, not oil totally, you control the strait, you control like a third of the world's shipping, if not more. Okay. Bull Monkey said it's not too long ago, a couple of years, that the value of oil was minus $50 a barrel. Oh, wow. Craftsman is saying that's not a shipping lane, that's a dead end. And he says that our allies like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, they've got pipelines going out the west side. It doesn't hurt our people. Okay. Josiah says, no, it's far from a dead end. It's where the Suez Canal leads to. What are you talking about? Okay. Anywho, let's go ahead on and continue with her breaking down how this blockade is operating. And for those who are here hanging out, all 75 of you, please like the live stream. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe and support the channel. It's free. Thank you. Lord. Y'all.
Deal with the Iranians to let through some tankers, so they're counting on that oil, so they could be one of the first to see the consequences. Secondly, the U.S. Can say that it will not allow ships to go to Iranian ports, but allow ships to go to and from non-Iranian ports. But that doesn't mean the Iranians are going to let them through, and the Iranians still have a way of threatening the Strait of Hormuz, especially, and the Iranians can continue to target those tankers. So you wouldn't need, if you're a tanker, to take the risk of saying, well, the Americans are allowing me, but the Iranians might target my ship. So that is still a problem that is not going away with the U.S. Blockade. In order to implement the blockade, also, the United States will have to get a little closer and a little bit more within reach of possible Iranian missiles, Iranian drones. So that could still be a threat. Iran has already warned, as you said, that they would probably retaliate in the region, saying that no port in the region will be safe. So they might do exactly the same to other nations around the Persian Gulf. If both the United States and Iran do get their way and manage to blockade or block the Strait of Hormuz and the whole region, well, oil prices that have already gone very, very high will probably continue to go even higher, and that will be a problem for everyone. There is always the threat of Iran that is sort of hanging in the balance, but everyone is not exactly talking about it right now. But if the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf region is completely blocked by the Americans and by the Iranians, there's always the threat of the Houthis, the proxies of the Iranians in Yemen, that they could block Bab el-Mandeb, which is another crucial, vital waterway. And if those two were closed at the same time, that will be a huge problem for global shipping.
All right, Ketevan Gorjestani, thank you very much.
Okay, let me go ahead and pause that. Okay, so we have Maud and Abel in the house. Welcome to the check-in. So I saw one of your comments where you said Iran will fight back. People, don't be stupid. What the H? Lady, are you saying Iran's making money? Trump does too care about the Hormuz Strait. So let me go ahead and get you educated on this. So yes, Iran has still made money on exporting oil during this Operation Epic Fury. They've made approximately about 139 million per day. Go look it up, okay? Number two, no one did, at least not from my voice or on this on these videos, has anyone said that Iran will not fight back. So I think you're kind of coming into a conversation and not fully understanding what's going on here. No one said that Trump didn't care about the Strait. Trump said he didn't care about the Strait. That's who said it. Yeah. So maybe you don't understand how the conversation's going. But yeah, Trump was the one that said that he didn't care about the Hormuz Strait because the United States gets very little oil from there. That's a fact. You go look that up online, honey. Yeah. Um, you're saying you're very confused. Trump attacked Iran and he lied about why he did. I don't think anybody is confused here. I think you may be. Okay. We got Josiah here saying the Middle East has defeated plenty of empires, so I don't see how this will go differently. We got Bull Monkey saying it's a long time since I saw a hairstyle like that. Then we have Josiah Williams saying, see, global shipping. Isaiah Arthur, welcome to the check-in. It's saying we don't even need the strait, one net exporter of our own oil. Then we have Josiah saying y'all focus on oil like it's tea. Then we have Bull Monkey saying so many people with so many reasons for Trump attacking Iran, Israel's puppet, or an end to the petrol or the end to the petrodollar. But all other reasons sound more feasible than the reasons given by the government. Okay. We got Ismail Nasruddin saying the U.S. has become a pirate. We got Lou in the house saying where the fans at? Welcome to the check-in. Yes. So we just listened to a lady give us a kind of a breakdown of how this whole blockade would occur regarding what Trump's trying to do. Josiah Williams saying that y'all are stuck on oil like there are thousands of other commodities and goods that pass through there. They're stuck on oil because right now the price of oil per barrel is the highest it's ever been in a long time. And the price, because of what's going on there, that's why the price of oil is so high. The gas is over $4 a gallon now. That's why the people on this chat, the people around the world are stuck on oil because of how it's impacting not just gas, but also food prices. It's impacting the fertilizer, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's why you hear so much about that opposed to other things that may be transported through the strait. So yeah. So what else we got going on here? So sleeper cells. So they're saying that, I mean, you may have heard where they have found like some of the family members for like some of the leadership of Iran, of the Iranian regime, were living here in the United States as professors. So they have went ahead and remove those green cards, if you will. So let's hear a little bit about that. Why is this thing doing this?
All right, DHS posting the mugshot of the son of a high-ranking Iranian official known as Screaming Mary. She worked as the spokeswoman for the terrorists behind the 1979 U.S. Embassy takeover, which included more than 50 Americans held hostage for 444 days. Secretary of State Marco Rubio writing on X, quote, "This week I terminated their lawful permanent resident status." And today, Saeed Asha Hashemi and Mariam Tamesabi and their son are now in custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, pending their removal from our country. Her family should never have been allowed to benefit from the extraordinary privilege of living in our country. Former DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary Jonathan Fahey joins me now. Jonathan, this follows news that the niece and grandniece of Qasem Soleimani were living here. The daughter of Ali Larijani, who is the de facto ruler of Iran, was living here and working as a professor.
Oh, wow.
These two individuals were professors as well. And separately, there's an Iranian activist who spoke to the New York Post and said that she has been collecting evidence about these people living in the United States, benefiting from the U.S. and providing that information to the feds. And she says that there are thousands more Iranians with ties to the terrorist regime living in the U.S. And she goes on to say these people can be sleeper cells, and at the right time, they may get activated. They are really rooted in America. And that is why what the Department of Homeland Security or immigration is doing to deport these people is so valid. I mean, she lays it out there, but I'll ask you this question. How big of a threat are these people that we're just learning about now, living in the United States with deep ties to the Iranian regime? How big of a threat is this to all of us?
I think this should be taken very seriously, and it could be a very big threat, and we just don't even know. And that's the interesting thing about it, is how many other people that might not be sort of as well known or as easily identifiable in terms of being connected to the regime be in this country. And I think Secretary Rubio's point was such a great point in that it's an extraordinary benefit to be here. And why did we let people like this in here to begin with? Where was the vetting on that end? But yeah, on the national security end, what he's doing is exactly right. Hopefully it deters others. But there is a concern, and it sort of brings us back to we need DHS open because we need to prevent something bad from happening rather than react to it if something bad does happen.
That's so true. And not just by executive order of the president to pay these important workers, but actually have the department fully open. There's another Iranian activist, Jonathan, who said they are here to influence policy, talking about these Iranians. They are here to steal technology, and that's a national security threat. We are incredibly happy. Iranian citizens. I mean, you asked the question, and I'll pose it to you again. Why were these people allowed to come to the United States in the first place?
This just really shows that, I don't know the specifics of each one of these people, but where was our vetting and how are we vetting people that are loyal to the country? Because these are lawful permanent residents, meaning they're on track to get citizenship in the United States. And if you're going to do that, you should be loyal to the United States, not loyal to the Iranian regime or anywhere else. But yeah, it does show really a difference between the Trump policy and the prior policies of other administrations, where the Trump policy is putting America first. And if you aren't loyal or if we don't know, you shouldn't come in. And that's the really scary thing about what's been going on the prior 4 years under the Biden administration, because so much of the people that are here
We just don't know, and that's the worst or the scariest part of it all.
Yeah, no, it certainly
That's
is.
true.
And, you know, it only makes common sense to take a closer look at this, especially given what's going on right now in the Middle East. So how difficult will it be? Are we being proactive about this in terms of looking at who's been given a green card, doing a real deep investigation into the Iranian Americans, or the Iranians rather, who are here in America right now, and figuring out if they have regime ties, and also people in other adversarial countries who are here?
It does
That's a
seem
good
like we're being
question.
proactive just because of these recent actions by Marco Rubio. And my guess is, or my supposition is, there are other people that aren't as high profile that the same thing may in fact be happening. But hopefully we are proactive on not just the Iranian regime, like you said, but other regimes that may be harmful to us. People need to go. And the most important part is, let's stop people coming in that might harm us, because it's a lot harder to kick someone out than to say you can't come in.
True.
And I think that's one of the best things this administration's been doing.
Yeah, so far 3 families with ties to high-ranking Iranian officials, and in 2 of those families there were people working as college professors, which is another through line that should not be ignored. Former DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary Jonathan Fahey, we thank you so much for your time on this very important and concerning topic.
That's interesting. So these people have been living in the United States, related to some of these regime leadership folks over in Iran, and they have been, I guess, removed from the United States due to their familiar relationship. So I wonder, like, where do they go? Like, I know they're not gonna go back to Iran. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I have a friend of mine that is from Iran, and he was telling me that he cannot go back there. He has to meet his mom over in Dubai in order to see her. So, yeah, interesting. And he did make a good point. It's easier to stop folks from coming in than it is to have them leave, you know? So that's interesting. Um, we have what we got saying here in the chat. We have Craftsman saying water with Iran is a big deal. Before the war, they only got water 2 hours a day. If Trump would hit the water plant, it would destroy their community. Oh wow, I knew they had desalination plants, but I didn't know about this 2 hours a day thing. We have Maud saying the thief Trump's making money hand over fist. Trump's daily liar. Please don't patronize me. I'm an American 75-year-old Vietnam veteran, disabled widow, and against Trump's war. Like I said in the comment, on this platform, you know, people are allowed to be here and to say their opinions, but you must be respectful, okay? I'm not patronizing anyone. The same way that you provide a opinion, I do as well on my platform, okay? So thank you for your service, and thank you for attention to this matter. All right. You're welcome to be here, but if you do not want to be, I understand. If you want to, check out a different channel, I'm okay with that as well. But we're gonna be respectful here, okay? What else do we have? We have Craftsman saying, you're right, William. I've been hearing them talk about the Middle East. Iran in particular was almost out of food, and it was very, 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 very expensive. Mm-hmm. And then we have Sistery talking about all these racists out of here. Interesting. We have Josiah saying, Craftsman, that's disgusting. I hate when they start going after civilians just trying to live. Craftsman said, I know it's not right, but it's war cutting food and water supply is the oldest trick. Super Z444 says, I don't understand why Americans let this clown still be in power. Okay. Decisive, because Americans love to be lied to. Laugh out loud. Interesting. So I did see on here that someone was asking about like what other things come through the Strait of Hormuz. So beyond oil, the Strait of Hormuz is a critical artery for roughly 20% of global liquefied natural gas trade, primarily for Qatar. It also transports significant volumes of refined petroleum products, petrochemicals, sulfur, and nearly 10% of the world's aluminum. crucially, it handles 1/3 of the global trade in fertilizer components. And that's why we were talking about a few weeks ago about how the farmers were talking about how they haven't gotten their fertilizer, the cost is going up, and there's going to probably be an issue with food supply later on this year because of the lack of fertilizer. So there you have it. So yes, so we're going to go ahead on and we're going to touch on Trump's remarks. He did like a little session today where he talked about like the blockade. He talked about, the Americans receiving more in their refund just from their tax returns, all that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and check that out.
The world, not going to happen.
And Mr. President, on Iran, if the deal is not reached by the end of the ceasefire, does your threat from before still stand?
Yeah, I don't want to comment on that, but it won't be pleasant for them. Let me put it that way.
Do you still plan to charge a toll to use the Strait of Hormuz, sir?
Has your timetable changed in any way in terms of ending this conflict?
No, it's going on. Just right now, there's no fighting. Right now, we have a blockade. They're doing no business. I didn't like seeing boats come out if they were doing business with Iran, but if they weren't, no boats came out. So now Iran is doing absolutely no business, and we're going to keep it that way very easily. Don't forget, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. It's a lot.
Do you still want to charge the toll?
There's coming from predominantly going to China, Mr. President. Has Xi Jinping reached out? I know you're going to be...
No, but we have a very good relationship with China. He would like to see this ended also. He certainly wants it ended. Everyone, I want to see it ended too, but we can't give a nuclear weapon to a group of people that have caused nothing but havoc for 47 years. Look, I'm the president that's done something about it. This should have been, and many other presidents regret that they didn't. So I'm doing something about it.
Ukraine impeachment documents that were just declassified show that Eric Charanella not only submitted false information, but that he had no direct knowledge of the alleged conversation. It was all hearsay. Do you feel vindicated by those?
Yeah, I do. They're a bunch of crooked people. You're talking about with respect to all of the things that they put against me? Yeah. Well, it's come out that in so many different ways. Thank you very much for that question. I appreciate it. But in so many different ways, the election was rigged. The 2020 election was rigged. We found that out.
This man gonna keep talking about that 2020 election being rigged until he leave office from this second term. I mean, every chance he get, he talking about Sleepy Joe, Obama. What do you call him? Barack Hussein Obama, in the nuclear deal. He's talking about the rigged elections. Like, yes, this okay. Let's move on. But I guess not. Come on.
What you just said is just a piece of that. It's a big piece, but minor, relatively speaking, compared to what they did. They cheated in the election. They cheated on the vote. They cheated in every way possible, and it's the only way we got an incompetent man to be a president. And he was an incompetent man. Many of the things that we're talking about, even including this would have been settled a long time ago, not now. And it should have been settled by other presidents. But the election was a rigged election. We can't let that happen to our country.
It's concealment of exculpatory information. What should happen?
Well, it's a very serious charge against them and the Democrats. They cheat. They can't get elected with their policy. So their policy is no good. They want to have, open borders. They want to have men playing in women's sport. Do you think that men should play in women's sports?
I really don't have an opinion on that.
You don't? I'll bet you do.
No, I'm here about no tax on tips.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is it your understanding that during this period of time, while the U.S. has instituted this naval blockade, that oil companies will be able to send their oil tankers through the strait, get more oil out from this area?
Yeah, I think they're going to be doing very well there, and I think they're doing very well here. You know, a lot of tankers are coming up here. They're coming in empty and out full. And we have a great capacity to take care of that business.
Ma'am, may we know your name, please? Have you delivered to the White House before?
I have not. My name is Sharon Simmons.
And are the White House good tippers? Do you know?
Wait.
Potentially. Yes, very.
Mr. President, can I ask you something
That's
about
good.
Cuba?
Thank you. You reminded me.
Mr. President, one on Cuba, sir. You previously said that you had no problem with countries sending fuel to Cuba after previously promising to tariff them. What happened? What changed?
Well, we're going to see with Cuba. Cuba's another story. Cuba's been a terribly run country for a long time. It's got a bad system. It's been very oppressive, as you know. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, all of whom just about voted for me. And they were treated very badly. In many cases, family members have been killed. They've been beaten up and mugged, and terrible things happen in Cuba. And Cuba's a failing nation. And we're going to do this. And we may stop by Cuba after we're finished with this. But Cuba is a nation that was just been horribly run for many years by Castro.
You said may stop by.
Regulator Bill Pulte, regarding those two recent referrals for Letitia James for insurance fraud, do you know if federal prosecutors have evidence to charge?
Well, I don't know. I know she's a very corrupt person. And you're talking about the so-called Attorney General of New York. She's a very corrupt person. That's been proven now. And I know I have nothing to do with it, but they're looking at things all over the place, more than one state concerning her, and concerning people like Comey, who's a dirty cop. Comey's a dirty cop, and dirty cops are bad. Nobody likes the police more than me, the law enforcement more than me, but Comey's a totally dirty cop, and we're not gonna stand for it. Yeah.
The UFC fight that's happening at the White House this summer, UFC typically numbers those fights consecutively, but should they label this one UFC 1776?
That's a good idea. I'll tell that to Dana White. I like that idea, actually. I will say I've been involved with a lot.
Did y'all know that he was going to have them do a UFC fight at the White House? Like, I found out this just now. Okay. And they're doing like some type of race car race in like downtown DC as well. That's this summer, I believe. Okay. Lord.
Big events. I have never had an event that's had more interest than the UFC fight that we have right at the front door. Right there, they're going to start building about a 4,500 seat arena. And then in the back, at the Ellipse, we're going to have maybe 100,000, 50 to 100,000 people, I guess. They're building tremendous stages, and you're going to have massive screens of the fight. And it's a very popular sport. But I have never been involved, because of the White House and everything, there's a lot of reasons for it, but we're having a fight at the White House on June 14th, and we're going to have an arena built right at the front door. Wow. And if you want, is your husband up to coming, do you think? Does he like UFC?
He might.
If he's feeling good, we'll make sure you come, okay?
That would be wonderful.
That's
Thank
better
you.
than the tip I just gave you, I'll tell you. That's a lot better. But no, if he's feeling good, right?
Yeah.
Is he doing okay? Is he going to be okay?
He's doing very well. He's doing very well. He actually, during the process, he wrote a book. And
go ahead, give him the name. Maybe yourself.
He hasn't had it published yet, but it's a book on humility, and his name is Leo, and he's just
good guy.
Doing good. He's doing great.
How long are you married?
We have been married for 6 years.
Oh, that's good.
But we've, like most people, we've been together for over 10. So
that's very good.
Yeah.
Well, that's very nice to say hello to him. He's going to be good. Okay, he's going to get better, and he's going to be good.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Bull Monkey, I remember seeing on another site that I think she actually delivered some McDonald's to him as part of all this. And that might be why he just handed her a tip. I can't make this up. Let's keep going.
I want to thank you all, and I especially want to thank you for being here.
Well, I want to thank you.
Thank you very
for
much.
The no tax on tips.
Oh, that's good.
It has helped my family out immensely, and I definitely appreciate it. Thank you.
So nice. The one thing that I just in leaving, we've had more good press for a change, having to do with the fact that people are receiving more money from their tax refunds than they ever thought possible. We had a man the other day got $5,000, another one got $7,000. They weren't expecting anything like this, and it's because of the great big beautiful bill. And that's why you came, and I really appreciate it. And tell your husband to get better.
I will.
And if he's feeling good, you'll come up and you'll watch that fight.
All
okay,
right.
June 14th.
I appreciate it. Thank
All right?
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
You
much.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Any update on
Thank you.
DOJ, though,
Thank
Mr.
you.
President?
Your
reaction to Mr. DOJ? Any update on who you want to lead DOJ? Who you're going to nominate?
Well, I think Todd, as far as doing a fantastic job, I will say that. He's a great lawyer. I know that because he's been with me a long time. And so far, he's doing a great job. But we have incredible people in the DOJ, getting better all the time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
You want to come in for a second? Come on in.
Oh, he done invited her to come on into the White House, and she gonna shut the door. Okay, y'all. So, what y'all saying here? We have Craftsman saying, I agree. A lot of previous presidents threatened Iran, did nothing, and they thought our word was worthless. Josiah is saying, calling people corrupt, and then saying I had nothing to do with it, but she's under investigation. Coming from a corrupt official is snitching. Okay. Capello is saying that Trump never panics. Let's see. Boo Monkey saying, oh, she was living in sin for 4 years. Craftsman is saying, I love Trump. If he caught a 6-inch fish, when he told the story, it would be 2 feet. Boo Monkey says, how long he been married, and expected her to say 40 years or something. Yeah, I thought that too. She said 6, but been together for at least 10. The science that said, just such a goofy, all these political politicians. Okay, let me get this right. Josiah is saying, such a goofy, all these politicians are jesters. She better be safe in there. Okay, y'all, we're going to go back to this picture of Trump. And I found the post on Truth Social where, hold on, let me write this down. I found the post on Truth Social where he talked about the Pope. He says Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He talks about fear of the Trump administration, but doesn't mention the fear that the Catholic Church and all other Christian organizations had during COVID when they were arresting priests, ministers, and everybody else for holding church services, even when going outside and being 10 and even 20 feet apart. I like his brother Louis much better than I like him because Louis is all MAGA. He gets it and Leo doesn't. I don't want a pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want a pope who thinks it's terrible that America attacked Venezuela, a country that was sending massive amounts of drugs into the United States, and even worse, emptying their prisons, including murderers, drug dealers, and killers into our country. And I don't want a pope who criticizes the president of the United States because I'm doing exactly what I was elected in a landslide to do, setting record low numbers in crime and creating the greatest stock market in history. Leo should be thankful because, as everyone knows, he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be pope and was only put there by the church because he was an American. And they thought that would be the best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Unfortunately, Leo's weak on crime, weak on nuclear weapons, does not sit well with me, nor does the fact that he meets with Obama's sympathizers like David Axelrod, a loser from the left, who was one of those who wanted churchgoers and clerics to be arrested. Leo should get his act together as Pope. Use common sense, stop catering to the radical left, and focus on being a great Pope, not a politician. It's hurting him very badly, and more importantly, it's hurting the Catholic Church. President Donald J. Trump. Y'all, that's what he had to say about the Pope. And I'm assuming that could be why he came up with this imagery that you see on the screen. I don't know, y'all. That's what he put on True Social. Now he's taking it down now, but it was on there. Okay. So we have Winston Watson in the house saying hello. Welcome to the check-in. If you're here hanging out, all 63 of you guys, if you have not liked the live stream, please do so. Also, if you feel so inclined, go ahead and support the channel by subscribing. Thank you. We got Josiah Williams saying, oh, wow, Pope that turns a blind eye. Yeah, that's new. Laugh out loud. We got Lauren, you know it, with all these laughing, crying faces. And we got Craftsman saying, that ain't cool. Okay. That's probably why he went ahead on and took that down, y'all. But you know, I'm just sharing the news, honey. Okay, I'm just sharing it, right? Let me pull this down some. Here we go. Okay, so we have Webboo 17 in the house saying what? Welcome to the check-in. Yes, honey. You never know what you're gonna see on on Truth Social with Mr. President Trump. Now there was another image I wanted to show you guys that had Trump Towers on the moon, honey. Let me see if I can find that again. Trump posts so regularly. He really does. Let's see. I think it's coming up. Okay, y'all. So I'm gonna show you guys. This is the advertisement for the UFC fight that I believe he's gonna have on the White House front door. Okay. Yeah, UFC Freedom 250. Yeah, June 14 on a Sunday. This is the advertisement for this UFC fight in honor of 250 years of freedom for America, is what this says here. Okay. Now, mind you, if you guys didn't know, while they were at over there in Islamabad trying to have a peace deal, Trump was over at the UFC fight this weekend. Yes, he was right there. And he was in Florida this weekend, doing what he does. Okay. Let me find that image. Oh Lord, I might have to look for it again. Yeah, okay. So I don't know. I'm not seeing it right now. Okay, so we have a few more Trump posts. Now y'all know I can't really read this tiny screen, so bear with me. Let's get into it. Oh Lord, I don't like how that look. Hold on one second. That went by real fast. Okay, let me get this screen set up right. We can better see this. No.
The First Lady, Melania Trump.
1 second, y'all. That is not it.
Since overlapping in
No,
social.
that's not it. Whew. Y'all, this is crazy. Let's see. We have Bull Monkey saying, do you think Trump actually posts to Truth Social? I really doubt he manages his own account. I believe he do. I can't see anybody that will be up on here as much as he does posting like this. I really believe that's Trump posting most of this stuff you see on this Truth Social. I believe that. Craftsman saying, I'm thinking the same thing, Bull Monkey. They don't believe he manages it. I think he does. That's my personal opinion. Because I can't see anybody that's getting paid will be posting the way he does. I just don't see it, but I could be wrong. Trying to get this thing to come on here. Oh, it's doing it. Why is it doing it like that? Let's go back. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. We had Tom Duma saying, hey, came late. Thank you for being here. We have Think About First, okay, saying he defended his post and said he posted them. Is that true? I don't know, but he said it was his post. Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about that.
President Trump says the United States will block.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this, but okay, let's just go ahead and pause and keep it moving. Okay, we finally got some. Oh, well, whatever.
The First Lady, Melania Trump.
Okay, we'll just go ahead with her. Okay, so what I wanted to tell you guys about some other posts he had. I didn't want to have to read them. I wanted to actually let you guys see them. But I'll just go ahead and scroll and read them to you. Let's see. I only had like 2 or 3 of them that I wanted you guys to see. 1 second. As a matter of fact, okay. Here we go. So we have one from him from 3 hours ago. It says, for those people that still read the failing New York Times, and despite the fact that Iran has been totally obliterated, militarily and otherwise, you would think that Iran is actually winning or at the very least doing quite well. But that's not true. And the New York Times, know that it's fake news. When does the corrupt media outlet apologize for their lies and horrible actions against me, my supporters, and our country itself? Have they no shame? Have they no sense of decency? President Donald J. Trump. Lord. He says 7 hours ago, 34 ships went through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, which is by far the highest number since its foolish closure began. President Donald J. Trump. Okay. Then we have this one from 9 hours ago. Iran's navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated, 158 ships. What we have not hit are the small number of what they call fast attack ships because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they'll be immediately eliminated using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. It is quick and brutal. P.S. 98.2% of drugs coming into the United States by ocean or sea have stopped. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. Okay, so we have Tom Dumas saying that Trump is now a puppet. We have Teddy Johnson, welcome to the check-in, saying that what is this bunny chain? Okay. Then we have Web Boo saying Trump is going to H for mocking the Alpha, aka God. Craftsman is saying, I believe the stuff that is handwritten is Trump, but all the little videos that gets pushed around, I say that's interns. Okay. Bull Monkey said he says a lot of things. I work in government and nobody above manage their own socials. Then we have Barry saying she up to something. Okay. Oh, talking about Melania. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into that.
With the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common.
Let me ask y'all this. Why do you guys think that Melania is giving this speech at this point in time? I mean, a few weeks ago, the Epstein stuff was hot and heavy. They did the deposition of Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, all of that. But why is it at this stage, out of the blue, in my opinion, is she doing this speech? I'm not saying she can't do one. I'm just wondering, what's the reason why it's being done, right now at this juncture? Give me your thoughts in the chat, please. Let's keep it going.
In New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false. I'm not a witness or a named witness in connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements, or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein's abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and other repulsive behavior. The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically, must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation. To date, several individuals and companies have been legally obligated to publicly apologize and retract their lies about me, such as Daily Beast, James Carville, and HarperCollins, UK. Now is the time for Congress to act. Epstein was not alone. Several prominent male executives resigned from their powerful positions after this matter became widely politicized. Of course, this doesn't amount to guilt, but we still must work openly and transparently to uncover the truth. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record. Then, and only then, we will have the truth. Thank you.
The Secretary Lutnick to continue serving?
Okay, y'all. So why do we think that she is coming out with this now? Like, why? I don't know. Okay, so we have let me go back a little bit. We have let's see, we have CPTN Homer saying she was paid fat stats for all her performances. Doc City said, well, is this English? That's her version of that. We have Bull Monkey saying her roots are showing. We have Bull Monkey saying, would you be happy if you had the job of sleeping with him? George Payne is saying, liar, liar, pants on fire. The Power Oneful says, there aren't any truth told by any members of the administration. Okay. We have Tom Dumas saying she's not a happy girl anymore. Okay. We have Captain Homer saying dollar signs. Dark City says low key she's throwing Trump under the bus. She knows it's over. Then we have Kim JB72 saying because the Democrats want to hide now that the Epstein files show them. Okay. Boo Monkey says the deported woman is about to throw her 50 cents in the ring. Josiah says because Trump is connected and people are putting two and two together. And then Lewis saying, laugh out loud, she is dry snitching. Okay. Interesting. So we did a poll here, and I said Melania's statement is, and 71% said she's getting ahead of something else. 21% says on time. 8% said by happenstance out of 24 votes. Okay. Then we have Craftsman saying that there were conversations between Maxwell and Epstein saying they can never get Trump to participate. And then we got Captain Homer saying paternity test Barron. Barron look just like his daddy. I just don't, I believe that that's his. I do. We got 70 Slow Burner saying anybody really cared with the cute little emoji. Welcome to the check-in, Mr. or Miss 70 Slow Burner. We got Tom Dumas saying she is not ahead of things. Her friend deported to Brazil called her a B and threatened her. I know everything, the Brazilian said. I hadn't heard about that. Okay, that's what's going on. I hadn't heard about that, Tom Dermer. Then we got Bull Monkey saying on Bragu, woman is really unhappy that she was deported. Okay. Okay, so maybe Bragu is the deported friend's name. Then we got Craftsman saying Democrat politicians went to Epstein in jail and tried to get him to lie and set up Trump. I did not know that. We got Captain Homer saying psychopaths are incapable of caring. Interesting. Okay, so we are going to shift narrative. We're going to shift the convo a little bit, and we're going to talk about Mr. I don't know how to say his name, Swellwell. The gentleman, I think that's in California, that decided to step down from running for governor. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead on and play that. Now, what's interesting, he announces that he's going to stop doing this campaign via like a post, maybe like on Twitter or something like that. Do people not do like press conferences? Are we providing the news now on like the True Social and the Twitter now? Is that how we get our news information? What are y'all saying here? So we got Kim J saying Jay-Z, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Lady Gaga, Whoopi Goldberg, and more are in the files. Melinda Gates says she divorced Bill because she found out he was in the files during Biden's term. Okay. Yeah. And we got Capello, he back saying Trump never panics. Okay, let's go ahead and get into what Mr. Swellwell had to say. Let's get it.
We have breaking news just in. Congressman Eric Swalwell is suspending his campaign for California governor as he faces allegations of sexual assault. He made the announcement minutes ago on X, writing, quote, I am suspending my campaign for governor. To my family, staff, friends, and supporters, I'm deeply sorry for mistakes in judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious false allegations that have been made, but that's my fight, not a campaign's. Well, clearly, the bottom fell out,
Right.
and it was unsustainable for him to stay in the race. But he's motioning, he's staying in Congress, and he is going to fight these allegations.
Yeah, and we've been hearing from, I think, a lot of Democrats who have talked about the importance of walking the talk, right? And I think there has been like a sea change in this country about believing victims. And, you know, Eric Swalwell has even himself come out in the past and talked about the importance of believing victims when they come forward with their stories. And I think given the context of what has happened in this country around the Epstein files and the seriousness of the allegations and the leaders of the Democratic Party who've called on him to step aside, there was no way for him to sustain this campaign. And I think it'll be very interesting, again, because you have a president in this country who has been accused of sexual misconduct for years, and he's always brushed it off. And I think it's always been important for Democrats that they walk the talk and they actually back up when they say the importance of believing victims and trying to get to the bottom of allegations like these. So
the whole thing just makes me very sad.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel very sad for the victims that they've felt the need to come forward publicly. I think the fact that they haven't come forward publicly until now, I mean, even under cloak of anonymity, tells you how much is at risk for women who are put in this position, as these women alleged to have been. So the whole thing just makes me very sad. And I don't know. I hope that those who have been hurt, if indeed these allegations are true, get some sense of closure from all of this.
Yeah, I agree with your point entirely, Eamon, about just in this moment with the Epstein files and the fact that Swalwell and so many others have spoken out in support of the survivors. Yeah. The right thing for this Congress to do is to listen to survivors, to believe women and vulnerable people. And I think we'll find out pretty quickly, starting tomorrow, where things are headed on Capitol Hill here for him, but also 3 other members of Congress who are facing serious allegations of different nature. There you see them right there. Yeah, Corey Mills, Tony Gonzalez, Sheila McCormick there. Hers is of a financial nature, not a sexual assault or sexual-related crime. But I think at this point, so many voters in the country right now are just sort of disgusted with the lack of accountability. Yeah. And they want to see action. And it really doesn't matter so much if there's a D or an R in front of your name. I think people want to move forward, and they want fighters, but they want fighters with credibility, with honesty, and who treat the people around them with respect.
Let me say this real fast. So when it comes to the Scalwell, you know, there's some level of truth to what has been alleged, right? He did say that he may need to he did say that he needed to, apologize to his wife, for things that he may have done. And so he may take the route that, yes, I may have had a relationship with these women, but it was, consensual. That could be the angle that this man is going to take when it comes to dealing with these allegations, because he didn't just come out and just say, oh no, I didn't do this. I didn't touch that woman. I don't know this woman. He had some dealings with these women. Okay. And at this point, it's going to be, his word against theirs. Like, did they record anything? Who knows? As you guys remember a few weeks ago, Bill Cosby. Yes, Bill Cosby was a part of a case with a woman that said that he, assaulted her, about 40, 50 years ago. I don't forgot the time frame, but it was a while ago, right? And it was her word against his, and he did not deny that he slept with that woman or whatever, and she got paid millions, and she's like in her 70s. So we're just gonna see how that goes. Okay, I'm gonna see how this plays out with this man here. What is his game plan going to be? Because I really believe there is some level of truth to what's being alleged, but how he presents that, we'll have to see. Let's keep it going.
Hopefully this moment is going to open up the floodgates when it comes to what have taxpayers been funding victims of congressional misconduct over so many years. Open up the vault, all settlements over many, many years. Let the public see, let the public know what money they paid out?
We had two very different interactions with members of Congress from the Democratic Party, two women, Pramila Jayapal and Madeline Dean, over this weekend, and they both had different answers as to whether or not Eric Swalwell should be expelled from Congress, right? And Madeline Dean's viewpoint, Congressman Dean's viewpoint was, let the process play out. He has a right to defend himself, and if so, if that concludes with an expulsion, so be it. It was interesting to hear Congresswoman Jayapal say he should be expelled, or that she would vote for him to be expelled along with Tony Gonzalez. And you brought up a really interesting point about the political calculation in all of this, because it's a razor-thin margin in Congress. And of course, this is not a calculation that should be made when you are pursuing justice on behalf of victims.
But it has to be a factor for these politicians, right?
Exactly. So that's what I was going to say. It has to be a factor for how the Democratic Party, as well as the Republican Party, looks at these allegations and looks at which member of Congress they can dispense with while protecting their control over this Congress.
Because we'll have to see. I mean, even though there are two from each party right now, two of them are from the same state, which is controlled by a Republican, and so we'll have to see. You know, like, are they? If there are expulsions, will there be special elections? And if there is a concern about how the special elections would go, or if they would be slow walked in different states, how that would affect the calculus. I wish that wasn't a factor, but it will be.
Okay. So let me come to the chat here. So we have, I wanted to go back to Mr. Frogs or Mrs. Frogs E1Z. 1 second. I'm going to put it on the screen. I think y'all can see that. So Mr. Frog says here, why do you blacks talk like you do? I'm in Scotland and we don't have any blacks. The way y'all talk is very interesting. How do I talk? I talk with, I'm articulate, well-spoken, knowledgeable. That's how I talk. So are the people in Scotland, they don't talk like that? They don't talk, they're not articulate, they're not knowledgeable and confident in their speech? Is that the difference, sir or ma'am? Can you give me a little insight if you don't mind? Okay. Yes, let me know how do you guys talk in Scotland? Are you guys talking in slang over there? Is that your normal dialect? Let me know something, sir. But yeah, I'm very articulate, confident, and knowledgeable in what I'm speaking of. So that is how I talk, as well as others who are black and not black. You know? Okay. Let's keep it going. Now, we have some other folks here. I see we have Kim JB72 that's been commenting quite a bit, saying as STEMFashionista. Plus, we know a civil trial is next, so he has to stay on a straight line. He sure does. That's definitely coming next. Uh-oh. I don't want to show that. That's definitely coming next. The civil trial. We have Captain Homer saying life and death extremely risky. Plus 50% need to be replaced at least. Unchecked power is cancer, sickening. Then we have Kim saying, yes, he had an affair with a Chinese woman, they say a spy, some years ago. Who we talking about right there, Miss Kim? Josiah is saying, women, what happened to 13-year-old? Laugh out loud. Now, who we talking about with a 13-year-old? We got Bull Monkey saying, Bill Clinton, Bill Cosby, easy mistake to make. Thank you for the grace. Kim says, you know, they treat us black folks different with cases like this. Okay, then we got Captain Homer saying the first black president. We have Oyer and Termine, welcome to the check-in, saying they're here just in a different tone. Don't worry about it. Okay. We got let's see, we have Crashman saying you sound like a smart, intelligent woman. Don't let it bother you. It doesn't, but thank you, Craftsman. And we got Lou saying it's because we have swag. End of story. Then we have Bull Monkey saying even us English folk need subtitles when the Scottish are on TV. Okay. Josiah says Scots are known for drinking. Just excuse them. Laugh out loud. Then we got 70s Low Burner saying gaslighting. They're not from Scotland. They don't ask stupid questions like that. Just saying. Lord, we got Cam saying Eric. Yes. Yes. So thank y'all. We got Tom saying they're all 90% complicit, all meaning criminals, some guilty of crime against humanity. Interesting. So next up, we talked a few weeks ago about the Hawaii doctor, the one that they said attempted to kill his wife on a hiking trip. Said that she had an emotional affair with a coworker. So you know, they came down, they rendered something, okay, against him. So I want you guys to hear it for yourself. Let's get into it.
Case number 1 CPC-25-00000373, State of Hawaii versus Gerhard Koenig. We, the jury in this case, finds the defendant guilty of attempted manslaughter based upon extreme mental or emotional disturbance, dated 4/8/26 by the foreperson.
Gentlemen, you can be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm going to call you by chair number, not by name, but by chair number. And I'm going to ask that you answer out loud either yes or no. If you agree with the verdict that was read out loud here in court, you would answer yes. If you disagree with the verdict that was read out loud in court, you would answer no. Starting with chair number 1.
Yes.
Chair 2?
Yes.
Chair 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Chair number 4?
Yes.
Chair number 5?
Yes.
Chair number 6?
Yes.
Chair 7?
Yes.
Chair 8?
Yes.
Chair number 9?
Yes.
Chair 10?
Yes.
Chair number 11?
Yes.
Chair number 12?
Yes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Dr. Koenig, the verdict of the jury is indeed unanimous and consistent with their verdict. The court judges you guilty of attempted manslaughter in this case.
So y'all saw that? Unanimous yes. When it came to that wait, I'm sorry, it was a unanimous yes when it came to them issuing that charge. Well, not charge. I mean, that's pretty much, they're gonna sentence him for this, okay? And I was reading where they were talking about that he called his son afterward and and provide some incriminating information. But yeah, he's sitting up there, putting his hand in his head, like he was surprised to hear this. You know what I'm saying? Lord, my goodness. So yeah, y'all. So he's getting ready to go to jail. And I think they were saying that him and the wife said that, they were under some mental breaks or something like that. Lot going on mentally. And so yeah, I mean, I guess he could have had it worse than what he got, right? So anyway, yeah, let's keep it going. So yeah, that's the result on that. I wanted to go ahead and close that out, you know, with that. And then also we had the Artemis II. It had successful landing this past week. Pretty exciting. So hold on, what we got here? We got Bull Monkey saying, how do you attempt manslaughter? Manslaughter is unintentional killing. Interesting. Then we have Memphis saying, hello, welcome to the check-in. We got Captain Homer saying, not premeditated. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, wait a minute. We have Bull Monkey saying he's taking the laughter out of manslaughter. Yeah, he did. He gonna be in the jail with a lot of men for a long time. Okay. Yep. So yeah, that was the conclusion when they came to that trial. They found him guilty of manslaughter. And yeah, he said that with his hands in his head, like he in shock. So I guess he was saying that she was trying to harm him. And I mean, I want to say, if I recall correctly, we listened to a little bit of the trial a week or so ago. They played the lady who called into the police saying this man's trying to kill this woman. Like that, the lady literally pretty much said that on her call to the police. But yeah, crazy, right? But yeah, so before I go, let's go ahead and look at the Artemis thing. I thought that was very interesting, very successful. Let's get it going. And also, they're very you can tell that these astronauts are very grateful for the experience, and they seem to be like really good people. So I'm glad they were able to do this together. Let's keep it going.
Mission complete for the 4 astronauts of NASA's Artemis II flight to the moon and back.
Houston Integrity, splashdown, sending post-landing command now.
Their Orion capsule splashing down off the coast of San Diego Friday evening after a 700,000-mile journey that included the first humans to set eyes on the full far side of the moon and a spectacular 53-minute solar eclipse. Commander Reed Weissman, pilot Victor Glover, and mission specialists Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen still wrapping their heads around the experience.
I have not processed what we just did, and I'm afraid to start even trying.
The crew members sharing photos reuniting with their loved ones after their 10-day flight that set a new record for distance traveled from Earth. More than 250,000 miles to the moon and even farther.
Before you launch, it feels like it's the greatest dream on Earth. And when you're out there, you just want to get back to your families and your friends.
All four returning with a new gratitude for the planet we all call home.
What struck me wasn't necessarily just Earth, it was all the blackness around it. Earth was just this lifeboat hanging undisturbingly in the universe.
The crew, who's also spent considerable time in close quarters.
This is the furthest I've been away from Reed in a long time.
And forever bonded.
What you saw was a group of people who loved contributing, having meaningful contribution, and extracting joy out of that.
For NASA, the successful flight now tees up another critical test set for next year, when a crew on another Orion capsule will practice docking with the commercial lunar lander, all ahead of a planned return to the lunar surface as early as 2028.
To the generation that now knows what we're capable of, welcome to our moonshot.
Okay, but the U.S. is not alone. China also has plans to put astronauts on the moon. It hopes by 2030. You know, this is not the space race from the 1960s. One key difference, big commercial space companies, SpaceX and Blue Origin, are competing to be a critical part of future missions. And NASA plans to put astronauts back on the moon and then build a permanent moon base as a potential springboard for future space travel, maybe even to Mars, guys.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Great coverage throughout.
Hey, what y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Laura, I meant to say gave me pause, not purse. That's what I get from trying to talk and type. What do y'all think about? That's kind of exciting, right? They said they went out there and saw the back part of the moon, all these cool things. They're getting ready to head back out there. I think they said in 2028? China's gonna be going out there doing their thing. They want to put a moon base out there. I'm like, now that's a lot. Very much so a lot. So yeah, I think this has been like what 50 years since they've had someone go out there towards the moon. Been a very long time. Yes. But yes, y'all. So what y'all got for me on here? We have Kim saying that people don't believe this. We got Captain Homer saying spaceship Earth. Craftsman saying there's people that think the planet is flat. I'm not surprised how crazy Americans are. He says that Elon better get his robots up there and get started. Then we got Kim saying so Americans want to destroy the moon like the Earth. We got Josiah Williams saying it's cool, but it's just a measuring contest as always. Nothing to do with actually progressing people forward. Laugh out loud. Then we got Captain Homer saying epic presidential interview with the Artemis crew. I have not seen that interview. Let me see if I need to find that. Let me see that. Artemis interview with the president. I'm gonna go check that out. But yes, y'all, Craftsman was saying it's awful funny. We did this after China discovered helium. Okay. But yes, y'all. So if you're still here, please make sure you like the live stream. Help me increase these. No, I got a couple dislikes, but that's okay. Can't win them all. But yeah, go ahead and like the live stream or dislike if you must. Subscribe as well. Okay. Help a sister out with that. And did I tell you guys I am fully monetized now? Yes, I got fully monetized last week. So you see a little something different going on here now. I still don't know what everything is. So if you're doing stuff and I don't know, that's because I really don't know. I need to figure out what all this is. We got Daphne here. Welcome to the check-in. So y'all, we talked about the deal that didn't happen. Okay. We talked about how Trump is deciding that he's going to blockade the Strait of Hormuz. Talked a little bit about why the strait is important. But yes, it's important not just for the oil, but for the fertilizer and aluminum, other things too. Because who knew that strait was that important? I didn't know anything about it until this whole Operation Epic Fury took place. We talked about all of that. We talked about, let's see, potential sleeper cells. We looked at several Trump Truth Social posts, honey. He is hilarious, okay? We talked about Scotwell stepping away from running for governor. The Hawaii doctor being, convicted of manslaughter. And then the Artemis II homecoming. That was exciting. We have, Kim saying, I'd like to subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. And for those who don't know, I'm usually here on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. Okay? But yes, y'all, I get up at 4:45 in the morning to start my work day. Well, not to start the work day, but to start getting ready for the day. So I'm used to going to bed in the 9 o'clock time frame. Okay. So I feel myself already winding down. Y'all may think, oh, she's drinking. No, I have water. Okay. I am just used to going to bed by a certain time, y'all. And I got to get back on that. Okay. So Josiah says, congratulations. Thank you. Yes. I got to post something about it. I got to figure that out. Because I love doing me a nice little photo shoot or something. I might do like a celebration live stream, something like that. We'll see. We have on here Caprello saying you are beautiful. You are a beautiful, amazing woman. Thank you, Caprello. We have Captain Homer saying Operation Epstein Fury Diversion. Not Epstein Fury Diversion. Okay, we have Josiah saying that strait has been important since the 50s. Okay. I never heard about it until now. I never thought about how things got shipped. Then we got Captain Homer with the peace sign, the heart, the strong symbol, the worlds, and some coffee mugs, well, some beer mugs saying fellow earthlings. Let me go ahead and put my whole screen here. Yeah, I keep forgetting. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back here. Yeah, bear with me. Okay, y'all. What am I doing? Exactly. I was gonna show the picture that Captain Homer had here with all of the emojis. But can't find it, so it's fine. Let's see. We have him saying, cheers, fellow earthlings. All right. Yeah, these are okay. This is behind. Okay, that's fine. So, okay, y'all. So, like I said, I'll be back on Wednesday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, also check out my videos, y'all. I posted a video the other day. Well, in the last couple, I posted videos when I went to the Museum of the Bible. That was really interesting, seeing the Dead Sea Scrolls. If you're into that, you need to come out here to the Museum of the Bible and check them out. They're going to be here until like September of this year. Let's see, I post some little, some little get ready with me's. I still do my fashion content and my lifestyle and vlogging and all that. I do it all on here, okay? So you get to know me a little bit better, I think, when I do like my blogs and stuff, and also the live streams too. So the reason why I started doing live streams because you know what? I don't really talk much on my get ready with me's. So I said, you know what, people can get to know me a little bit better if I do the live streams, the vlogs, that kind of thing. So I do it all. So yeah, if you don't like, the fashion stuff, you might like doing these political commentating things I'm doing right here, my little news live streams. You may like that. So I got a little something for everybody. We're gonna call it just like that. But anyway, y'all, like I said, I'll be back Wednesday at 7:15. You'll have a great night and you have a blessed Tuesday and Wednesday. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.